Now, here's the thing, guys. 2 years ago, I was exactly where you guys are right now. You know, I was a person just like you, sitting in the audience, okay, listening at all the great speakers. And it's actually quite funny because 2 years ago, I was in this very same hotel where you are right now. And it was a very, very big event, a couple of hundred people in the room. And, you know, I had that dream as well to think to myself, you know, one day I want to be on the stage speaking. And, you know, fast forward now, you know, I've had the opportunity and I've spoken all over the world. So here's the thing, guys. I want you to also give yourselves a round of applause for being here today, okay? Because it's very, very important. And here's the thing. This place is where the magic happens, okay? There's loads of opportunities in this room as well. Not only with the speakers, but in this room, there's loads of opportunities. And there's an opportunity for you guys to make loads of money doing joint ventures as well. So I'm going to take you guys through exactly how that works and what I do as well. So first of all, can I have a show of hands? Who knows or who's actually knows what a joint venture is? Excellent, so majority of you. Okay, so who in this room has actually done a joint venture before? Cool. And how many of you people in here would like to learn how to do joint ventures? Excellent. Okay, so you're in the right place. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to take you through step by step how to actually do joint ventures. And I'm going to be covering a lot of content, so take a lot of notes. And most of the content that I'm covering today is what I normally cover on my £10,000 brokering business program. I have a brokering business program I do around the world every quarter. I train a team of joint venture brokers, and I'm actually going to be sharing some of that content that I only share in my high-level program. So you're going to be getting some amazing content today, and it's definitely going to blow your mind. So first of all, a brief introduction to myself. How many of you have actually heard me speak before, actually know who I am? Oh, only a few of you. Okay, cool. Right, let me just give you a brief background to myself so you understand who I am and why I'm here today speaking to you. Who's heard of a guy called Jay Abraham? Excellent, okay. Jay Abraham is a very big marketer in the US, actually one of the top marketers in the world, who also talks on the same subject that I do, joint ventures. And Mark Goldman, one of his partners, quoted me as a true rags to riches super success story, just like Andrew Carnegie. Who's heard of an internet marketer called Jeff Mills? Okay, brilliant. Jeff Mills, another good friend of mine, gave me the name The Master Connector. Who's heard of Jonathan Jay? Guy from the UK, great marketer. I was an expert, JV expert on one of his Success Trap programs. I've achieved over £10 million using joint ventures, and today I'm going to take you step by step through exactly how I've achieved that and how you can replicate that as well. I'm an international speaker charging £5,000 a keynote speech, which is what I originally used to do before I started doing platform speaking. I was the first Brit ever to be invited to keynote speak about JVs at the Social Media Summit in the US. I do a lot of my talking and speaking in the US and in the Middle East, and I'm very fortunate enough to have friends like Stephanie who invite me into the UK at some of the big events to speak as well. I'm an author of an upcoming book called The Joint Venture Millionaire, and I'm the founder of mybrokeringbusiness.com. Okay, so that's enough about me. Let me take you through what I'm going to be covering today. Today I'm going to be covering the real power of joint ventures. This, for me, has been a significant shift in everything that I do, and has allowed me to go from being a multimillionaire, where I went from being a multimillionaire to being broke and coming back again. And I'll show you exactly how I did that and how you guys can actually replicate that step by step in this room. I'm going to be covering how to find targeted joint venture partners, because that's something that I get approached with all the time. I mean, sitting in the back today, a couple of people came up to me and said, is anybody going to be talking about how to promote their book today? Is anybody going to be talking about how to use social media? So I'm going to be covering those two aspects in my presentation for you as well. I'm going to be covering how to contact joint venture partners, the right way to contact joint venture partners to get them on board. I'm also going to cover why authors need joint ventures, and I've got some really, really cool case studies that I'm going to cover with each of you in this room today. Creating 6 and 7 joint ventures, and also using social media for joint ventures as well. So let's begin, first of all. Joint ventures, to me, is what I think and what I believe is one of the most powerful business strategies that you can use in anything, whether it's your business, whether you have a book that needs promoting. It's absolutely amazing and mind-blowing. So first of all, what is a joint venture? Well, a joint venture is basically an arrangement of mutual benefit between 2 or more people or businesses who have complementary resources. So I'll give you an example of how this works. Let's say, for example, you have and this is a classic example I give on joint ventures when I speak. Let's say you have a bathroom tile manufacturer and a bathroom suite manufacturer. They both sell different products, and they're complementary products, but they're not competing with each other. But what you have is they have the same customer database, okay? So two of these companies can actually do joint ventures together and create more business. But here's the problem. Most companies see each other as competitors, okay? And, when I speak around the world, I actually mention this, that, people like myself, I'm a joint venture broker. When there's more than 3 people in a joint venture, the third person is known as a joint venture broker. And this is what I do. I bring people together, or I go out there and find JV partners for whether it's authors, consultants, coaches, or whether it's companies. Most companies will not work with each other because they see each other as being competitive. That's where someone like myself, who's a joint venture broker, really does well as an independent consultant who comes in and puts companies together. What do you think is a business's most valuable asset? Any ideas? Database? Anything else? People? Okay, here's systems. Here's the thing. People normally say, who's heard of the term, the money is in the list? Okay, the money is actually in the relationship of the list. So, and I'll give you a classic example. I have a lot of friends who have massive lists, okay? But I also have a lot of friends who have smaller lists. But because of the relationship they have with the smaller list, they tend to do more money on a regular basis. So it's actually the relationship that, that you have with your list which is the most valuable asset, okay? And I'm going to share some stats with you as well. When a business is sold, that value that's the value that's added on the balance sheet. Now here's the thing, guys. Each of you in here, how many of you guys own a business in here? Okay, and how many of you guys are here to make as much money as you can from your business? Okay, now here's the thing. You also, when you create a business, okay, always have the outcome in mind in terms of where you want to take that business, okay? And one of the greatest things that you can develop is either a database or loyalty within your customers. That is very important when it comes to selling your business. So always make sure that you have an exit strategy when you're putting your business together, because that's one of the most important things you can create for your business. Now here's some stats. It costs 6 times as much to sell to a new buyer. Now, we all know this, right? How many of you in here spend money on lead generation? Okay, I'm going to show you today how to basically create leads without spending money, okay? And how to create sales without spending money on leads as well by using joint ventures. So we know it costs 6 times as much to sell to a new buyer. But selling to the same customer again is pure profit, okay? Pure profit, because once you've acquired that customer, if you resell to that customer, you've covered your costs and it's pure profit. Do you understand that, right? Okay, brilliant. But here's the thing, it costs you 0 if you're using someone else's list, okay? Do you understand that concept? Okay, now that's the power of a joint venture, okay? Because most of the profit is yours and there's no advertising costs. So, joint ventures is actually one of the most powerful marketing strategies that you can do, bar none. I mean, social media is a godsend, and it's an amazing tool because it's free. But if you combine joint ventures with social media, like I'm going to show you, it's absolutely can create a phenomenal effect. So, let's look at some of the benefits of using joint ventures. Joint ventures allow you to compensate weak areas in your business without the nominal investment. Now, one of the catch-22 problems that most businesses have is that they can't expand because they don't have the workforce, sales team, they don't have money for a call center, for example. But going to another company who has an underutilizing asset that's not being used, like a workforce or a call center, in a joint venture is one of the most powerful things that you can do, okay? It also allows you to take advantage of unlimited complementary skills and resources. Now, what this means is this. Once you've done one joint venture with one JV partner, guess what? You can take that same concept and campaign and do it again and again and again and again. This is a vital component in anyone who wants to become successful with their business or even becoming an author. It also allows you to boost your lead client generation and profits quickly, and I'll talk more about this, how I've used it and with my clients to actually create leads and create business just by using joint ventures. It also allows you great branding potential for free. Now here's the thing, you've heard everyone talk about becoming an expert. Andy, Harrington, you've heard Mindy talk about becoming an expert. That's the main key in being, for example, where we are today, earning the amount of money we do with our coaching programs, our books, our courses, and speaking on stage. We are positioned as experts, okay? And joint ventures will allow you to do that. And I'll show you step by step how anyone can become an expert very, very quickly by using the concept and power of joint ventures. It's absolutely phenomenal, absolutely amazing. I mean, 2 years ago, I was virtually unknown around the world. Now, I'm one of the top 3-4 joint venture experts in the world, simply because of my collaboration with other people in the field who I targeted, known as the key people of, who's heard of the term key people of influence? okay? Exactly, and I'll show you how to do that using joint ventures and using social media as well. Also, joint ventures, this is the classic one. It allows you to make money out of thin air, and that is no joke. I'm going to take you step by step and show you exactly how I did that and how you guys can replicate that, actually walking out this room tomorrow. Okay, here's the benefits of being a JV broker. Now, this is what I do. I'm a joint venture broker, and here's some of the benefits in terms of what I do, and it give you more of an insight into how I run my business and what I do. As a JV broker, I make lots of money by simply being a middleman, okay? I don't need to spend years building my customer list or even creating my own products. I used to run a business that had 25 employees that did over 10 million pounds, and I'll take you through exactly how I built that business using joint ventures, and I'll take you through exactly what I'm doing right now. Totally stress-free, allows me to travel the world, allows me to work from anywhere. Also, I don't need to keep track of sales, chase people for money owed or fulfill product orders. I don't do any of that. I'm a joint venture broker, and the JV partners I work with on both sides, they do all the work. All I do is just step in and leverage the resources around me and make huge profits by just bringing people together, okay? Okay, so what I want to do with you guys, I want to share my personal story with you because I think it's very, very important. I want to share my story of how I got to become one of the top joint venture experts in the world, and how you guys can actually copy some of the techniques and some of the strategies that I've done. Is that okay with you? Okay, brilliant, thank you. So here I am in 2006. I built a 10 million pound business using just joint ventures. It was an amazing time for me. I had achieved everything I wanted in life. When I was a little boy. Sorry, I'll speak with a little bit of an American accent there because I speak so much in America. When I was a little boy, I wanted basically that shiny red Ferrari. I wanted to live in a beautiful Georgian mansion, and I achieved all that. By 2006. I built a 10 million pound business using just joint ventures. Okay, now I'm going to take you step by step exactly how I did that and how you guys can copy that. But then in 2008, who remembers what happened in 2008? We had the recession, right? I lost everything. And was totally broke. It was a very upsetting time for me, and it was like, you hear the stories of entrepreneurs going through this cycle. I actually physically went through this cycle. But then in 2009, I set myself a challenge to make £1 million in 12 months, and I actually completed a £1 million JV deal in 30 days. Now, how many of you in here would like to hear exactly how I did that? Okay, cool. So I'm going to take you through step by step, exactly, share my story with you of where I've come from and how I've got to be one of the top JV experts in the world, and sort of the things that I've done, the opportunities that I've looked at, and definitely write some notes down because you're going to have aha moments. Now, I want to give you a tip here. When you're listening to speakers on the stage, and bear in mind, I'm not a professionally trained speaker. I haven't been to Andy Harrington's program at all. I speak more from the heart, and I just love speaking and connecting with people. Okay, that's my passion. But when you see speakers on the stage, don't take notes on the slides. Don't basically take notes in terms of what you see. Take notes in terms of what you feel. Okay, that's the most important thing. It's your aha moments. Because in these presentations, you'll see from the speakers, they're all phenomenal speakers, and most of them are really, really good friends of mine. And, the content that they're going to share is absolutely going to be mind-blowing. So when you make notes how that specifically is tailored to your outcome that you want, okay? Don't make notes specifically just, I know some of you out there who just bring pads and pads with you, and you're scribbling away. That's just a tip, because that's what I learned, and it really, really helped me. So, where do I begin? Okay, I originally trained as an accountant. It was one of the things that, coming from my culture, my background, my family wanted me to become either a doctor, accountant, solicitor, lawyer, astronaut. I couldn't get that far. So I opted to go down the route of, training to become an accountant. And here's the thing. When I got a job with one of the top 5 consultancies in London, I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest with you. I was there for at least 6-7 months, and I spent most of my time helping other people, okay? How to use the internet, for example, or, helping them how to use PCs and computers. And then my supervisor turned around and said to me, Sahel, you're really good at using computers and the internet. Have you considered doing something in that field? And I thought about it, and I thought, I don't really enjoy doing what I'm doing. I'm more going out there and helping people. So I left that job, and I decided to study and do a course in information technology, IT, with business. So while I did that course, I wrote a thesis. How many of you guys in here have ever written a thesis before? Okay, now you know the deal with theses, right? So I wrote this thesis, and the title was The Impact of the Internet on the Manufacturing Industry. Now, don't get too bored. I'm not going to get too academic on you. I'm just going to give you a background in terms of how you can create opportunities, okay? And how opportunities, when they come to you, you need to be able to see those opportunities and grab them with both hands. So I wrote a thesis because back then, 96, 97, the internet first started, and I did a lot of research on what is this thing called the internet, okay? And I wrote this thesis on the impact of the internet on the manufacturing industry, because actually back then they were saying that the internet is going to have a big effect on the manufacturing industry, and as we know today, it has done. And little known to me, my professor posted my thesis online. Now here's the thing, if most of you remember, Google launched in '98, and before Google they had things called bulletin boards. Who remember bulletin boards? We're already showing our age now, aren't we? Okay. And I started getting phone calls from companies, venture capital firms, .com companies saying, look, we read your thesis with great interest, and could you come out and talk to us about this thing called the internet? So there I was, straight out of university from my course, having graduated, now consulting with .com companies, venture capital firms, and it was amazing. One of my first clients was a company called, who's heard of QVC? Okay, QVC.com was one of my first clients, and it was amazing. 1998, 99, we had clients lined up who were paying us between 25 and 40,000 pounds for internet consulting, which is basically what it was. It was great. We had a great run then. Who remembers what happened in the year 2000? Okay, yeah, we had the dot-com bubble burst, and we also had Y2K, exactly. And being computer consultants, we now had a bad name, because guess what? We were blamed for Y2K, and plus when the dot-com bubble burst, we lost the majority of our clients, okay? But at that time, this is what happened. When I used to go and see these companies, I created what I would call a showcase. It was a one-page website, which I created some computer training courses, PDF files, which people can go to the website, order a course, and download these PDFs in a zip folder, okay? Nowadays, people are doing it, one-page websites. We were doing this like, 10, 15 years ago. And the great thing with that business is, back then it was very easy to get onto Google, and we were making sales every day. Actually, every month we were making about £4,000 or £5,000 a month on clockwork. But this little computer training website is what I showed to businesses to prove. Remember Andy talks about social proof, okay? Social proof that we knew what we were doing when it comes to making money online, okay? And then 2000, the bubble burst. We lost the majority of our clients. So we sat down and we thought, okay, what do we do right now? What do we do now? The whole industry shift. We have to think about what we do moving forward. So we had this little website making us, £4,000 or £5,000 a month, and we decided to concentrate on that little computer training website and create a business out of it. So early 2000, I came across a phenomenal book, which actually I forgot to bring with me today. I carry it with me wherever I go. And you might want to write this down. It's called Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got. It's a book by J. Abraham. That book has been a phenomenal shift in the way I do marketing in my life. Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got. Phenomenal book by J. Abraham. And while reading that book, Jay spoke about something called joint ventures and strategic alliances. So I read this chapter, and I thought, wow, this is quite an amazing concept. And in the book, he talks about how anyone can go out there and literally make money from thin air by using other people's resources and lists. I thought, you know what, I've got to try this. So I went out there, and remember, right now in this economy where we are right now, I mean, I do a lot of stuff in the US, and the US some of the places in the US have been hit harder than us in the UK. And what's happened is, because the economy is in a downturn, here's the thing, guys, don't say in your head, don't say that there's no opportunities out there because the way the economy is. Don't say no one's spending money. They are, okay? But the thing is, you've got to spot the opportunities. There's more opportunities right now in this economy than there will ever be. And what I did basically was, by seeing this, I approached one of the largest IT recruitment agencies in Europe. Now here's the thing, in this economy, most big companies will now work with you because they're open to ideas. I mean, look, Mindy was talking about one of her clients who approached these banks with a book, and now he's doing deals with them, okay? You can approach big companies because they're now more open to looking at ideas, because they all need to survive as well, and they need to grow their business. So I approached the largest IT recruitment agency in Europe with a proposition, and you might want to write this down. This is what I said to them. I said to them, if I can create an additional revenue stream for you without increasing your overhead, would you be interested? Okay, now who wouldn't, okay? right? Straight away they got back to me and said, we are interested, and I arranged an appointment down in Regent Street, actually not very far from here in London, went to their head office, 4 people at a desk asking me the same question. Okay, Sahel, so tell us, how are you going to do this? How are you going to create an additional revenue profit stream for us without us increasing our overhead? And I said, look, it's pretty simple. It's called a joint venture, okay? And I said to them, okay, tell me, for instance, how many people do you have on your database? They said, we have over 150,000 IT professionals. I said, okay. I said, what are you currently doing in terms of marketing to those people? They said, well, we send out a newsletter every 2 weeks. And then I proceeded to say, do you actually sell anything to them? They said, we don't. We just advertise vacancies. I said, well, right now, no one's hiring computer consultants, right, because of Y2K. So I said, I have an opportunity for you, and I can create an additional profit stream. I said, I have these computer training courses that sell really well, and obviously I showed them my conversion rates, I showed them the website, showed them exactly how we're making money. I said, if you endorse my courses to your list of IT professionals, we'll give you a percentage of every sale, and we'll do everything. We'll do all the, the affiliate links. We'll do all the tracking. We'll send you, a check in the post every month, and we'll give you stats that you know exactly how many people are coming to the website and ordering these courses. And it was phenomenal. That was my first very joint venture that I did. And here's the thing, guys. In the first year of our little computer training website, we did close to £60,000. With this one joint venture, our turnover shot up to just shy of £300,000, okay, in our second year. Absolutely phenomenal. And from there, I was hooked. I thought to myself, wow, where else can I do this? And fast forward to 2002, the whole industry changed in terms of what we were doing in terms of computer training. Who's heard of the term e-learning? Okay, now e-learning had been developed in 2002, and most of the bigger companies now were doing video-based training. This is like 10, 15 years ago, about 10 years ago. They were doing video-based training, and it was called e-learning. And I thought to myself, let's try and compete with these guys because we want to go to a bigger market. We want to go to a corporate market. And we can't do them with PDF courses. They want the best courses in the market. So what I did was, I went back to Jay Abraham's book, and he talks about something called licensing. Who's heard of licensing? Okay, licensing is phenomenal. I'm going to show you a few techniques and strategies that you can use to make millions from licensing, and that's one of the main things that I do. So I went out there and did some research and realized that it was costing us $15,000, actually it was in dollars, per hour of e-learning training, okay? And I thought, wow, our competitors have 150 titles. We can't compete with that. It's going to cost us over $1 million. So I thought to myself, how quick can we acquire the rights, or how quick can we get up to a stage where we have these products to sell to corporates? So what I did was, I looked on the internet and I found a company in the US who actually had the content we wanted. They had all the courses already developed. And I contacted them and I said, we're interested in licensing your content, and I'd also like an exclusive license branded, okay, in my name. And the funny thing is, nowadays, what do they call it? Who's heard of private label rights? Okay, yeah, they call it PLR. In the corporate world, we call it white labeling. And I contacted this company, and they said, yes, sure, Sahel, we can do that for you, but it's going to cost you $100,000 for a license. And I was like, you know what, I don't really want to spend any money here. So what I did was I jumped on a plane, I flew to the US, company in Clearwater, a multi-million-dollar corporation, and it was really bizarre, actually. I was sitting in the office of the CEO, who was a woman who owned the company, very successful lady. And while sitting in the office, she had a beautiful office, like a walnut desk and a walnut bookcase. I glanced over to the bookcase, and I started looking at the books, and I was like, wow, she's got some really cool marketing books. Guess what book I saw on the bookshelf? Jay Abraham, okay? So I thought, wow, okay, this is cool, because she's going to understand exactly when I start talking about these concepts of joint ventures. So she comes in, I sit down, we start talking about JVs and joint ventures, and I said, look, this is what I'd really like to do with your company, but I don't want to spend $100,000 on a license, but what I'm prepared to do is to show my commitment is place a minimum order of $10,000 a month, and I guarantee I'll make you more than $100,000, okay, within the next couple of weeks. So I bagged the deal, we shook hands, I committed $10,000, okay, to her up front, and now we were in a position where we had over 160 titles, and we had it white labeled as our own brand, and now we were operating in the corporate market. So from there we shot up to a 7-figure business. We were doing over £1 million turnover, and guess how much it cost me? $10,000, okay? All right, so that's the power of licensing. But get this, here's the amazing thing. In the US, she was selling her training programs for $3,997. Guess how much we were selling it for in the UK? No? Yeah, £3,997. But here's the real interesting thing. We were buying it from her at 75% below dollar retail. Okay, so we were buying it at 75% off the $3,997 and selling it for £3,997. Our margins were close to 92, 95%. We were making pure profit. It's absolutely amazing what you can do by doing joint ventures and licensing. So that was amazing for us, and that put us up onto a 7-figure business, and now we were dealing with bigger companies, and we had an established brand. Now, fast forward to 2006. And here's the thing, guys, when you're out and about, when you're reading things, when you understand joint ventures, your brain just fixes in another level altogether. You start seeing opportunities, okay? And in 2006, I was reading the Financial Times. They had something called the Sunday Times Fast Track 100. Who's heard of that? Okay, showcases the 100 fastest growing companies in a sector, and obviously ours was information technology. And while reading that magazine, I came across a company, a £100 million pound company, IT group, that had over 500,000 customers on their list. Guess what I thought? Joint venture, right? So I approached this company with the same thing. I said the same thing. If I can create an additional profit revenue stream for you without increasing your overheads, would you be interested? Man, who wouldn't, okay? And they got back to me. I got invited to their offices. Beautiful glass building. This is a 100 million IT group. Beautiful glass building, Jags, BMWs, Mercedes outside. And I went up to their offices, and they've got a beautiful panoramic boardroom. And I walk into this room, and you've got the chairman and the CEO. The chairman is the CEO's father, his father and son team. And I'm sitting there, okay, and I begin my pitch. I start talking about the joint ventures that I've done, and I start talking about the deal that I want to do with them. 15 minutes into my pitch, I get stopped. The chairman gets up and says, Sahel, we're not really interested in doing a joint venture with you. And I was like, what? I came all the way here, I'm sitting here, and I was like, you know what? I got my foot in the door. That was good enough, right? So I begin to get up, and then the CEO sits me down and says, Sahel, we're not interested in doing a joint venture with you. We're interested in buying your business. Okay? Exactly. So they were a big 100 million IT group. They had money in their balance sheet. They were looking at making more acquisitions. And I sat there, and because I already had 2 partners in the business by then, I couldn't make a decision there and then. So I went back, spoke to my business partners, and they basically wanted to acquire us because we had business customers, they had consumers. So they wanted to amalgamate us into their company as a business division. So I sat with my partners, and what we decided to do was this. We decided to do a part cash, part equity. They gave us cash, and we had equity in a 100 million IT group. So 2006, I was now sitting on the board of a 100 million IT group. I had shares in excess of 10 million, and it was an amazing time for all of us. We all became multi-millionaires, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I had an exit plan. Okay, I was going to be there for a year, and after a year, I would cash out and just sit on some beach for a couple of years, I guess, and just figure out what my next move was. And here's the interesting thing. I was managing director of the business, and within 12 months, I doubled the business. And how did I do that? Now, I stepped down as MD, and instead of working in the business, I was working on the business. Okay, another really important tip. And it was phenomenal. 2007 came, and end of 2007 was my exit. I was like, I've done what I've done here. I've built the business. I've cashed out. I've got my shares. I'm going to cash out. But, unfortunately, 2008, the company that had been around for 25 years went bust. Who remembers Woolworths? Been around for what, 25, 26 years? And all of a sudden, wiped out. So it was phenomenal. We got called in the next day. We were told the company's going into liquidation, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And here's the thing. Anyone here, be very wary of signing guarantees with banks, okay? Because as directors of the new division, that's what we did. And there was a debt of about 6.5, 6.6 million that we were responsible for now, okay? So, banks came after us, we negotiated with the banks, and I ended up selling everything. I had to sell all my assets, the beautiful house that I lived in, the Ferrari, the Porsche, everything went, okay? And I was broke, I lost everything. And it was actually a really, I just can't describe it, I can't describe, once you're used to living the jet-set lifestyle, and then it gets taken away from you right under your feet, okay? And here's the thing, you still have those bills to pay. You still have those bills coming through the door, okay? Now, I know how it works. I speak at a lot of events, and I resonate with a lot of people who sit there and they're in survival mode, okay? And they're watching people on the stage, and you know, we're doing our presentation, and we've got offers and programs. I really resonate with a lot of you in this room. I have been there, okay? I have been there, so I know exactly what people, you know, when people go to events, what they're looking for that opportunity, okay? I know, I've been there. So it was a very upsetting time for me. I lost everything, but fortunately for me, you know, I moved back home and my old bedroom was still at home. Okay, yeah, my mum's house, the roof, okay? My old bedroom was still there, amazing. She just kept the old bedroom, she didn't do anything with it. So, bizarre, wasn't it? It's like she knew I was coming back home. For God's sake, I'm trying to get out, okay? I got home eventually, but I came back to where I started, okay? So now I was back at home, and I was depressed. You know, I went through such a manic depression, because here's the thing. Around me, in my old neighborhood, all my old school friends were now successful accountants, doctors, or whatever they were, and they all had their houses and their nice cars. And guess what they said to me? You know, my friends said to me, Sahel, you should have stayed in your job as an accountant. It's like, dude, no. So, you know, for me, it was like, oh, I've got to get out of here. So, you know, with the little money that I had left over, I went on a spiritual journey, okay, a spiritual retreat, okay? I thought to myself, you know what, I've been there and done it. I've lived a multi-millionaire. I've been on private jets, yachts, and I've had all that. What do I do right now? And I was thinking to myself, oh, you know, I want to be a warrior. I want to go out there and volunteer and help people in need. But, you know, I realized a lot. I realized that my journey as an entrepreneur hadn't really finished, okay, and it hadn't even begun. Because once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. And with that, I came straight home, sat down, and I started to work out my next move. Now, here's the thing. I still remember that day, because I sat down with my mother on our sofa, and she said to me, so what are you going to do right now? And I said, look, I don't know. I need to do something. And my mom said to me this. She said, look, here's the thing, right? It's not, you know, just because you haven't got the bank balance anymore and the big fat wallet and the cars and the house, she goes, what you have is here in your brain. It's in your mind. Your success is in your mind. You always knew you were going to be successful. And my mom says, look, no matter what, that is not always a gauge of your success, okay? Money is not always the gauge of your success. It's what you have in your head, and it's the action you take, and it's the opportunities that you grasp, okay? And my mom said, look, you can be successful again, because in your head, that success has never died. You might have lost everything around you, but you haven't. And I thought to myself, you know what? She's right. And here's the thing, guys. When you're down there, where's the only way you can go? Okay? So I can't go any lower than I am right there. I had to go up. So I had to go upwards. And then I sat down and I thought to myself, what do I do? You know, I need to really start making some money. You know, I need to go back into being successful and wealthy. And I did the same thing that everyone does. I came to events. You know, events where people were selling programs on the stage, and, you know, one guy was selling how to become a millionaire in 12 months, one guy was selling how to become a millionaire in 12 days, one was selling how to become a millionaire in 12 minutes, one said how to become a millionaire in 12 seconds, and I was like, 12 seconds have gone, I'm even broke, more broke than I was before. I thought, you know what, scrap this, you know, I've got to sit down and I've got to focus, and I've got to think about what is it that I'm good at, okay? What are my core skills? Everyone in this room is unique, right? Don't let everyone tell you that I'm more successful than you because I have money and because of what I do. Everyone in this room, we're all unique. You have skills that I don't have, okay? I have skills that you don't have, okay? You just need to find out what those skills are, okay? That's the most important thing. I sat down and thought to myself, okay, look, what am I good at? What have I done that's worked? And what can I do again? I was like, the joint ventures, right? I did it before. I made money out of thin air, and I can do it again. So I decided, and I set myself a challenge. I said, you know what, I'm going to do a couple of big joint ventures, and I'm going to make £1 million in 12 months. That's the goal I set myself. But you know what, I did it in 30 days. And now I'm going to take you through step by step how I did it. And you're going to laugh because it is so simple the way I did it. So here's what happened. Again, opportunities are everywhere. I was reading the Mail on Sunday. Okay, let me just I was reading the Mail on Sunday, and I came across an advert for this book. Okay, and this book, you probably see it. It's probably they advertise it now and again, a full-page spread in the Mail on Sunday. It's How to Master Your Computer in Just 2 Hours. But it wasn't the book that was interesting, okay? At the bottom of the newspaper, it said over 400,000 copies sold. So guess what I thought? Joint venture, right? I thought, you know, they sold 400,000 copies of this book. There must be an opportunity for me to do something or do a JV with them, right? So I contacted them, and this is what I did. I contacted them and I said, you've got this book, right? You sold 400,000 copies of it. Do you have a video version of the book? They said, no. I said, okay, look, I've got a video version of this book. Would you be interested in selling that to your existing customers? Guess what they said? Yes, okay? So here's the thing, guys. First of all, I'd never had the product. I just pitched it. Remember that, right? Remember that. I'd never had the product, okay? Didn't have the product. And now they invited me to come and speak to them and said, yeah, Sahel, come over and bring the DVD with you so we can have a look at it. I still went to that meeting. I made an excuse. I sat down with the MD, and this is a 25 million pound direct mail publishing company in the UK. Sat with the MD, and he said to me, so Sahel, let's have a look at the DVD. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I said, I was such a rush to get it, I left it on my table at home. And it was like, okay. And it was like, okay, look, if you can get it to us within the next 5 days, we are really interested in doing something with it. And if it fits our market and demographics, then definitely we would like to do something with it and, to our existing customers. I thought, oh, damn, they really want to do a deal. So, yeah. So I walked out of the office thinking, oh, crap, what do I do now? I don't even have the product. So I spent 2 days going to Staples and Office World, and you go in there and you see these racks, okay, with these DVDs, how to use your computer. So I went looking around for this product because I thought, you know what, I've got to find this product because these guys really want to do a deal. Yeah, exactly. So I know. So I started contacting all the companies who sold these DVDs, and I said, look, I have a client, and I think we can shift a couple of thousand units of your product. Would you be interested in doing a deal where, we're flexible on pricing and we can rebrand the product? And they said, look, yeah, sure, Sahel. The best we can do is give you 30% as a reseller. And I was like, I'm not after a 30% reseller. We've got to be more flexible than that. So after 2 days, I thought, you know what? Forget this. I'm wasting my time trying to explain to him how this deal works. So I went onto a website, you might want to write this down, called www.elance.com. Who's heard of Elance? Okay, brilliant website, elance.com. Brilliant website where you can go onto, and there's a lot of freelance people on there who will do projects and do work for you, and they just bid for it. So I put up this project on Elance. I said, look, I've got a book that needs to be created into a video course, and this is what it is, and people started bidding on it. I ended up paying $500 for who knows what Camtasia is? Write that down as well. Camtasia. You can use that to create products from your book if you want. It's an amazing tool. They created a DVD training course based on the contents of the book. I paid for Camtasia, Camtasia.com. Camtasia. Just type Camtasia into Google. Google will tell you. Sorry? No, what I'll do, I think I've got it on the next slide, but yeah, I'll do that for you. Okay. So I got this DVD produced, outsourced, $500, took it back to the company. They loved it. The managing director's sitting there thinking, wow, this is awesome. It's just like the book. And I'm like, well, my team have been up for like a couple of days, putting this thing together, right? Right? Got to look good, yeah? Got to look good, yeah? And he's like, wow, this is awesome. And he's like, what other titles have you got? And I'm like, what other titles do you want? And he's sitting there making his list. I'm like, look, I'm like, dude, hold up. Look, let's get this one out the door first. If it works, then, we'll look at other ones. So we sat there, and then we started working out, looking at stats. They're a direct mail company, publishing company, so they know their stats. And I said, okay, out of the 400,000 current customers you have, how many of them do you think can we upsell to the DVD course? And he said, well, I reckon about 50% of them will buy. So put that in your head, yeah? 200,000 customers, okay? And then we started negotiating and working out my percentage. And I said, okay, how much will I be making? And they work like QVC. If you ever approach QVC, actually, and I've got a couple of friends who actually can put deals together with QVC. And you might have seen earlier in Andy Harrington's testimonial, another good friend of mine, who knows who James Lavers is? Yeah, phenomenal guy. He actually presents on QVC. They work on a points basis. They take a percentage, they give you a tiny, tiny percentage. And I said, look, forget that. How much do you want to sell the DVD for? And he's like, well, we'll probably pitch it at $19.95. I said, here's the thing. Every DVD that you sell, I will give you a license, okay, a license to duplicate the DVD, distribute the DVD, market and promote it. You just give me £5 for each one you sell, okay? So work that out. What's that? £5 times 200,000, $1 million, okay? So we went back and we shook on the deal, And I sat down with him, and he started drawing up this agreement. In the agreement, it said that I have access to 400,000 customers, right? Here's the interesting thing. He said to me, Sahel, if this thing really works, I'd like to push this out to my whole customer database. Guess how big his database was? 4.2 million customers. So when I tell the story of how I went from 0 to 4 million customers in 30 days, that is exactly how I did it. So I went back and I redid the contract, I printed it out, and I said, no, you got to sign this. So here is the actual contract I carry with me today. And the funny thing is, all these big gurus, right, marketing gurus, they said to me, Sel, you're so funny. When we made our first dollar online, we put it on the wall and took a picture. He goes, you carry, you got a laminated £1 million contract that you carry with you wherever you go. So deal done, and deal was signed, and it took us close to 18 months, okay, to do this deal, because they're like a direct mail company, and sometimes it's very hard to work with companies like that, but you've got to be persistent. So let me take you through exactly how I did the deal and the outcome, and I'll take you through it step by step. So here's the £1 million joint venture in 30 days. I found a list of 400,000 buyers, okay, contacted the publishing company with a JV proposal. Without the product, okay? I didn't initially have the product. So don't be afraid to approach companies, even if you have an idea, for example, or you see someone who has a product, like a book, or there's an author out there that you can do a deal with. I ended up using elance.com to create a complimentary product for just $500, okay? It cost me $500. I introduced and licensed the product to the list owner, making £5 per unit sold without handling anything. It was hands-free. I didn't do anything. With a total of, we just did over 201,462 units, and I collected just over £1 million as my JV commission.